Welcome to the 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens in their Week 5 matchup played October 11, 2015. We're going to go over all the scores and the stats and give our breakdown and analysis. So start off in the first quarter with 8:30 left in the first. Joe Flacco ended up running around on a bootleg, a 1-yard touchdown run. Tucker added the extra point, and it was 7-0 Baltimore over Cleveland. Then with just over 3 minutes still left in the first, Travis Coons hits a 43-yard field goal. It was now a 4-point game with the score Baltimore 7, Cleveland 3. But then with just seconds left in the first, Joe Flacco hits Kyle Juszczyk for an 8-yard touchdown. Tucker adds the extra point, and it was 14-3, Baltimore in the lead by 11 over Cleveland. So that would do it for the first quarter. Then in the second quarter, 4 minutes left before halftime, Travis Coons hits his second 43-yard field goal of the game, and it was now 14-6, Baltimore up by 8 over Cleveland. And then in the final play of the first half, Travis Coons hits his third field goal, this one a 37-yarder, to make it a 5-point game with the score Baltimore 14, Cleveland 9 at the half. So now in the third quarter, with about 8 minutes left in the third, Flacco then gets his second rushing touchdown of the game, another 1-yarder. And now with the extra point by Tucker, it was 21-9 Baltimore. And so then with a minute left in the third, Josh McCown takes it in himself with a 10-yard run. And now with the extra point by Coons, it was back to a 5-point game with the score Baltimore 21, Cleveland 16. So that was the score after 3 quarters of play. And in the fourth quarter, with about 12 and a half minutes left in this game, Josh McCown hits Gary Barnidge for an 18-yard touchdown. It was a crazy play. Barnidge took the ball from his hands all the way down to his ankles, and he was on the ground with the ball in between his legs, and somehow he was able to secure it, and he gets the touchdown. They went for 2. They failed, but they were up by 1 now with the score Cleveland 22, Baltimore 21 on that insane play that just has to be seen to be believed. So then with 6 minutes left in the game, Justin Forsett would get a 1-yard touchdown, and the Ravens would go for 2, and they would fail. And so now the Ravens led by 5 with the score 27-22, Baltimore over Cleveland. So then with just over 3 minutes left, Josh McCown hits Isaiah Crowell. He makes some crazy moves around the side, goes down the sideline, and 22 yards for the touchdown. They would go for 2, and this time it would be converted as McCown hit Hawkins over on the left side of the end zone. It was now a 3-point lead for the Browns with the score 30-27. So then with just a half a minute left in the game, the Browns would end up with a 23-yard field goal set by Tucker, which had been set up by an 11-play drive going 75 yards in a little over 2.5 minutes. And Tucker hit the field goal. It was good, and it was now tied up at 30 apiece, and this game would head to overtime. So the game would go to overtime tied at 30. The Ravens would get the ball first, and after the kickoff, they had it on their own 15. They gave it to Allen. He picked up no yards, and so 2nd and 10 from the 15, and a pair of incomplete passes, and out came the punting unit to punt the ball to the Browns. So the Browns take over on their own 35. They gave it to Duke Johnson. He picked up 6 yards and then 3 yards, setting up 3rd and 1. McCown went to Barnidge. He picked up 19, and now it's a first down on the Baltimore 37. McCown to Benjamin, picks up 2. And then McCown went to Trey. He picked up 7, setting up 3rd and 1 at the Baltimore 28. They give it to Johnson. He picks up a first down with a 3-yard run. With the ball now on the Baltimore 25. McCown goes to Gabriel. He picks up 4. They then give it to Crowell. He picks up 1. It's 3rd and 5 on the Baltimore 20. They give it to Crowell, and he picks up the first down with a 5-yard run. And now it was 1st and 10 on the Baltimore 15. They give it back to Johnson. No gain. McCown then sets it up with a 1-yard run, setting up the field goals. They would go for the field goal on 3rd and 9. Baltimore called a timeout to try to ice the kicker, but Travis Coons set up for a 32-yarder. It was up. It was good. And the Browns win this game with a come-from-behind victory to win in overtime 33-30 over the Ravens in Baltimore. So the Browns are now 2-3 on the season, 1-2 on the road. The Ravens fall to 1-4. They're 0-2 at home. So McCown coming up huge in this game. And in this game, McCown, he threw for over 300 yards for the third straight game. He also broke a franchise record, or team record. Technically, the Ravens are the Browns franchise. But anyway, the freaking, with McCown, he threw for 457 yards in this game. He was 36 of 51. He had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Flacco, 19 of 35, 210 through the air. He had 1 touchdown. He also had 2 carries for 2 yards as well. And he had 2 rushing touchdowns for Flacco. McCown had 3 carries for 12 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. So both quarterbacks had 3 total touchdowns in this game. Just flipped with McCown with 2 passing, 1 rushing. Flacco with 1 passing, 2 rushing. And for rushing, speaking of rushing, Justin Forsett, 21 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown. Allen had 8 carries for 58 yards. For the Browns, Isaiah Crowell, 13 carries for 49 yards. And Duke Johnson, 9 carries for 22 yards. And for the receivers, the tight end Gary Barnidge was the leading receiver in the game with 8 receptions for 139 yards, including that incredible ankle touchdown. I mean, like, he secured it with, like, his ankles to his knees. It was like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Like, he used every part of his body, it seemed like, to catch that ball. It was crazy. Like I said, I would definitely go to check that one out on NFL.com to check out the highlights. You got to see that one. It was one of the craziest plays you'll ever see. Travis Benjamin, 6 receptions for 83 yards. Gabriel, 4 receptions for 75 yards. Johnson had 6 receptions for 55 yards to go along with his 22 rushing yards to give him 77 total yards in the game for the Rook. And Hawkins had 7 receptions for 49 yards. Crowell also had 2 receptions for 38 yards to go along with his 49 rushing yards, which gave him a total of 87 yards on the game. And for the Ravens, Aiken was their leading receiver with 4 receptions for 78 yards. Forsett had 4 receptions for 49 yards to go along with his 121 rushing yards, giving him 170 yards on the day total yards. And Juszczyk, 3 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown. Boyle, 3 receptions for 27 yards. Look at the kicking. Tucker, 1 for 2 on the field goals, 3 for 3 on the extra points. Coons, perfect, 4 for 4 on the field goals, 1 for 1 on the extra point. And on defense, Smith with 8 tackles for the Ravens. And for the Browns, Bryant had a sack. And for the Ravens, Guy had 2 sacks. Williams had a sack. Jurgen had a sack. Let me look at the team stats. The Browns, 25 first downs, 22 for the Ravens. The Browns really just incredible on third downs in this game. They had 12 third down conversions out of 19, 63%, which was more than twice as many as the Ravens, who were 5 of 14, only converting 35% on third down. Total net yards, 505 for Cleveland, 377 for Baltimore. Net rushing yards, 181 for the Ravens, 83 for the Browns. And through the air, net passing, 422 for Cleveland. McCown sacked 4 times for a loss of 35 total yards. And for the Ravens, 196 net through the air. Flacco sacked once for 14 yards. McCown, even under that heavy pressure, the Ravens got a good defense. That's just really impressive about McCown. I'll tell you what, he kind of shut me up with this performance. I mean, yeah, he's been hot the last couple weeks, but really right here against the Ravens, just incredible game by McCown. I really thought they should have had Mansell out, all year, but I guess that's why Pettin is the head coach, and I'm on YouTube talking about football. So, but we look at the penalty yards. The Ravens, as much pressure as they were putting on McCown, and they had those 4 sacks, but 12 penalty yards against the Ravens. They're making mistakes on both sides of the ball. 98 penalty yards off of those 12 penalties. 9 penalties for Cleveland. 74 penalty yards. Lots of penalties in this game as the trend continues on the season in the NFL this year. And in the red zone, 2 for 5 for Cleveland, converting just 40%. And 4 for 5 for the Ravens, converting 80%. And usually, when you see that kind of red zone differential, you would think that the Ravens would have won, but no, the Browns. Especially, it was crazy. With the performance, McCown, and even they were just getting it done. But 39 minutes of possession for Cleveland, 16 seconds, 29 minutes and 1 second for the Ravens. Of course, playing into overtime. It's down the stretch they came up big time, especially in that fourth quarter with the 2 touchdowns. Of course, the Ravens also scored 10 points. Well, not 10 points. They actually scored 9 points in the fourth quarter. But crazy game down the stretch. 14, like I said, for the Browns in the fourth. 9 for the Ravens in the fourth. And then in overtime, the Ravens got the ball first, but the Browns defense forces them to go 3 and out. There's lots of points scored, 63 total points in this game between these two teams. And who would have thought that this was going to be this type of game between these two? The Ravens tend to get in these type of games, but not necessarily against the Browns. But McCown just airing it out. He said setting records for the Browns. 457 passing yards, incredible. Only 2 touchdowns, but still he just kept the ball moving. He kept the ball, especially on those third downs. That was really the huge difference to me in this game, was those 12 third down conversions where he kept the Ravens defense on the field. He kept the Cleveland offense moving down the field, and they just kept getting it in. And also, Coons coming up huge with the 4 for 4 on the field goals, as that really was the difference maker. Of course, he did get the game winner in overtime as well. So a surprising win for Cleveland on the road against their division rival. And the Ravens in last place in the division in the AFC North. So the Browns coming up big time on the road against the division rival. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.